I mean, every day you see the great inequalities in Nairobi. Nairobi is the most unequal city on our continent. 1 minute you could be in the depth of the sewers, in Mathare, and in 3 minutes you're in Muthaiga Country Club. So all of that inequality, what people are going through, the high cost of living, the despair, lack of hope, and another disconnected group of people, all in one day, for me shows the work we need to do. The kind of lives that people are living is always really awakening. The lack of dignity, the lack of order, the lack of hope really tells us what we need to do. So for me, I mean, it's been a long time coming, because being senator, you go out all the time. So it's not different in terms of campaign, but the the responsibility on you to give hope, to tell people that we can actually have a city of order, dignity, hope, opportunities, sometimes is daunting. But we wake up every day, we try, and we still go out there.
So the thing is this, that during these political campaigns, it happens all the time. We have, political promises, we have political formations, and your promises as, heaven, all the great things, we will fix your roads, we are going to have clean water, I'll make sure the youth have a place to go, I'll fix, unemployment and that sort of thing. And that's just to start this broader conversation. Let me start with you somewhat. Where is Azimio, and its promises? Is it the best? And would you say Kenya Kwanza are not promising anything? And why are you not in Kenya Kwanza in your Azimio, per se?
Because Kenya Kwanza are part of the problem.
Explain that.
The leader of Kenya Kwanza, the Jubilee Party, has been in. You have to ask yourself, when did it start raining? When did the rain start hitting us? Every single time I hear this this notion that is coming out, but there's the handshake, serikali ni yenu. It's never been about that. It's never been about that.
Can I just push back a little?
My schoolmate knows that as well.
Let me push.
It's never been about that.
I mean, I'll come to him, but we're setting the stage here. Let me push back a little. Hasn't ODM, for the last 5 years, since 2018, be part and parcel of the decisions that this government has made?
No, we haven't. And I strongly insist that we've not been part and parcel.
You've not voted together with government?
No, not in everything. Not in everything. And I'll give you an example. I'll give you a classic example. One of the things that we stood our ground on was issues to do, let's say, with the effect of the SGR on the economy of Mombasa. We stood our ground. We stood firm. Our party leader knows that this is what we actually stood for. It had nothing to do with whether there's a handshake or no handshake. And there's quite a number of other bills that we've been able. By the way, I'll give you another example. Even after the handshake, there was a time when the Railway Development Levy Fund, that is actually a fund that is meant to pay the Chinese debt, when even after the handshake, when the government side brought in an amendment saying that because of COVID we've been unable to collect enough revenue, so we want this levy to be amended. And in the process of that levy to be amended, the act governing it, they wanted it to actually use part of that money in the day-to-day running of the SGR. Amongst the people who actually voted it down was us.
So that provides a difference.
All I'm saying is our party leader simply told us that, look, we have two options. I mean, you go hard-hitting in every single thing, or you agree to agree and agree to disagree. Okay. It doesn't mean that,
Sakaja, there's a question here, and I just run it through what, someone brings it. It says, Ruto is in government, so Ruto for sure cannot run away from everything the government has happened. The question on SGR is an interesting one. We'll go through it in a moment. But what's the difference? What differentiates Kenya Kwanza and Azimio? And why are you not in Azimio and Kenya Kwanza?
I think, first of all, you must realize that even within, because it says Kenya Kwanza has been the problem, the chairman of the Azimio Council is the current president. It's all the same, if you ask me, in terms of, you cannot blame one side for where we are. What we are looking at as Kenyans, what Kenyans want to hear is a story of hope, not blame games. It's very easy to point fingers. And it's very easy to track that history and say, look, in 92 this happened, in 97 this happened. We're here as a country. Kenyans want to hear messages of hope. The reason why, if you look at even the voter registration, the numbers are low amongst young people, is because there was no inspirational story from any side at that point. Everyone was about, oh, we're doing badly, these guys have been bad.
But isn't that a fact, though? That people are earning less, the economy is not doing well. That's the fact.
As a leader, you paint a picture of the future. You must have a vision. You must do less of history. And that's what we get a lot from Azimio, about history, this is how Kenya started, this is where we were. I remember there's a time I was in this set, yeah? And I was debating, that time I was the chairman of TNA, and I was debating with my good friend, Professor Nyang Nyongo. He was the SG of ODM. And during that debate, we went back and forth. Then he asked me, where were you during the second liberation? I told him, I'd have loved to be part of this, but I was in class 2, you know. Kenyans, by generation, the majority of Kenyans want to hear about the future. What are you going to do tomorrow? Not the romanticized history of the past. So I think what we need to focus on is what is Kenya Kwanza offering and what is Azimio offering. Not, I mean, all of them have been the same.
But the thing
they've been in KANU, they've been in NAC together,
yes,
they've been in the same party.
I'll come back to that, because this sets a very good stage. Here's the thing, though. We cannot have a conversation about the future without a past.
But we have to have... They're all part of the same past. Tell me the difference in terms of past.
No, I'm just saying, from where you sit, right?
They've been part of the same past. Our generation wants to chart a path to the future. And that's where our focus is. You can either choose to look at Kenya in terms of what it has always been, or look at Kenya in terms of what it must be. That's a choice you must make. So you're either stuck in the past, and that's why even a car, the rearview mirror is smaller than the windscreen. We must look forward as a country. This is where we are, yes. Everyone has played a part in it. You know, you can talk about the dark days of Moi.
No,
Uhuru Kenyatta was in KANU.
A much recent history.
Tinga was in KANU. Even as recent as the last 5 years, they've both been in the same. I mean, William Ruto was the deputy president.
Still the deputy president.
He still is the deputy president. Raila Odinga,
unless he
handshake.
Resigned.
No, he hasn't. Okay. And he will not.
Okay.
Kenyans want to hear about tomorrow and today.
Okay.
The high cost of living.
Can I just add
what
one thing?
What opportunities for our young people and our women.
Okay.
And that's how we chat. So let's frame the discussion.
I agree with you, but in the process of framing this discussion, every single one of us has a story of hope. Every single one of us has a story of the Kenya that we all want. But at the end of the day, it's as simple as, I'm going to give it to you in a very, very folklore kind of story. When you want to get someone to be wedded, a young girl, whether it's from your family, it's your daughter, or else, you know, you start by asking, what's the history of this person, you know? You just don't go and start saying that this is a person. In Kiswahili, we have a saying that haununui ng'ombe kwa kuangalia katu. You don't buy a cow by saying that this is a very, very beautiful cow, look at it and everything else. And if you want to see how fat it is, actually look at the footprints of that particular cow. You measure someone through the integrity and everything else that they have been able to do. For the record, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is not going to be the president. He's not going to be on the ballot. The ballot, it is Raila Amolo Odinga. Measure Raila Amolo Odinga on him, his strengths, all right? The strengths of his lieutenants, his generals.
All right.
When we start talking about that, let us forget about everything else and erase the past. We are going to have selective amnesia, Sakaja, and that is not what this country needs. The country needs to be told. The country needs to be told that every single one of us is selling a vision of hope, and we are trying to say that this is what we want. This is the destination that we want.
Because I'm trying to get, and that's why I set the stage with this. Like, what differentiates the different coalitions, right? Otherwise, then they would not need for Kenya Kwanza or Azimio.
I can explain it. You see, where we are as a country politically, and the reason I'm drawing that parallel is that we need to focus on what the offerings are. What Kenyans want to hear is what is Kenya Kwanza offering and what is Azimio offering. When you talk about the past, there's a lot of similarity.